Y'all, we're going to try to record this again. This is my third time literally trying to record this video. So I know the enemy really don't want this video to get out. But anyways, anywho, hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to Walk Your Talk with Christ. My name is Mel Shanique Collins, and for those of you that have never saw a video or came across my channel before, this channel is about learning how to be transparent in your walk with Christ. Right? A lot of times we don't know how to do that. Some of us are scared of really revealing and telling God who we are as if he doesn't know already. But some of us, we can be caught up in religion, caught up in culture, and we don't really know how to walk out this relationship with God. And so on this channel, we learn. God gives word of encouragement. God gives words about things that are to come. And so all the things, right? But I wanted to get on here and tell you all about a dream that God gave me 2 nights ago, and it is called Covenant versus Counterfeit. And so in the dream, I was separated from my husband. I knew that we were no longer in a relationship. It was completely done. And I was in a new relationship with somebody else. And so this other person that I was in a relationship with, there was no bad feelings. There was nothing sinister about this person or anything. And I remember going to my husband's house, and I'm calling my husband because in a dream it really was my husband, but we weren't together in the dream. I remember going to his home, and I remember stopping in front of him and asking him, I said, "Do you think it would be hard to develop what we had?" And he said no. And before I even go into what the dream meant, this dream is for those that are waiting for their kingdom spouse, right? Whether you are standing for your marriage, whether you are just currently separated and you're waiting for your marriage to be restored, whether you are divorced and God is going to restore your marriage, or whether you are just waiting for God to bring your kingdom spouse. This is a word of encouragement for those that are in the wait. But also, it's not just for those that are waiting for their kingdom spouse, but it is also for those that God is about to open up some doors of opportunity to you, and He needs you to be keenly aware of His voice. He needs you to um know that there are going to be some opportunities that are going to be presented to you that are not going to be the best for you. It's not like they're going to be bad or they're going to derail you or take you out of alignment with God. It's not that type of time, right? There's nothing that the enemy can do right now at this point to stop or hinder what God is about to do in your life. Absolutely nothing. But there are opportunities that God absolutely wants for you to do, right? They're in his perfect will, is lining up with everything that he has planned for you. So this is a word for those two specific groups. So now we're going to finish the dream. So as I stood in front of him and I said, "Do you think it's going to be hard to develop what me and you had?" And he was like, "No." And I could tell, he was upset, but he was acting like he too cool for school. And then I left the home. So I went back to my relationship that I was in. And in that dream, I got the feeling that this person that I was with, they weren't a bad person. Right? Typically, when you think of a counterfeit, you think of something that's completely bad, that's completely the opposite of what God wants for you, something that's false, something that is just, it has a bad connotation to it. But I knew in the dream that although this person was not a bad person, that there was still a void. I still looked at this new relationship and knew that I wasn't going to have the same thing that I had with my husband, that I was not going to have that same connection, that same intimacy, right? That same friendship. I knew I wasn't going to have that, and the dream ended. And so, literally, in the dream, God gave me the title, which is called Covenant versus Counterfeit. And so, what God is saying is that there is going to be, um, you know what, let me talk about the kingdom spouse perspective first. So, God is saying that for those of you that are waiting on your kingdom spouse, He is saying that He knows that you are tired. He knows that this has been a long, drawn out process, but it is imperative that you must wait, because the spouse that God has for you is the covenant spouse that you are supposed to be with. Some of you may have gotten so tired that you have chosen to get into a relationship with somebody, and that person is not a bad person, right? Whether it's a woman or a man, they're not a bad person. They got a good head on their shoulders, good career. You know, you are compatible in areas and everything. But at the end of the day, God is saying that He has the perfect person for you. He does not want you to give up hope and just decide because you're lonely or you tired of waiting or whatever the case is and get with somebody else that He does not have for you. Because that is considered a counterfeit. If you get with someone else that God does not have for you, it's a counterfeit because it's not the true person that God designated for you. We know in Jeremiah 29:11 said, "For I know the plans I have for you. I have plans to prosper you and not harm you. I have plans to give you a hope in the future." So God is saying, I know who is the person that you're supposed to be with. And just because I haven't given them to you yet, does not mean that you can go ahead and start your own relationship. And so He's saying that some of these people that you all have decided to be with, they're not bad people, but they're just not the person that God has designed for you. So that is considered a counterfeit because it's not the person, it's not the kingdom spouse, not the kingdom husband or wife that God has for you. And when you are in that new relationship, you are actually going to miss out on that deep level yearning intimacy that God has designed in the relationship that He's going to bring to you. So that's not saying that this person that you're with, you won't experience intimacy, you won't experience friendship. Yeah, you're going to experience those things, right? But it's not going to be at the level that is going to fulfill you, right? It's not going to have that same passion, that same fire, that same desire. You're not going to have that because that's not the person that God has for you. That's going to be something that you're going to have to manufacture on your own. And so that's what God was saying. He's saying that for those of you that are waiting, that just continue. Very soon, you are going to be elated. You're going to be overwhelmed with what God has for you because God has somebody that's perfectly made for you. But He doesn't want you to settle for the counterfeit version of that person because you don't know what you're missing out on. And in the dream, that person that I was with, they were not a bad person at all, but there was a void in me, even though I was with them. There was a void in me that I would not have the same level of connection that I had with my husband. So that is what God is saying for those of you that are waiting for a kingdom spouse. Now, for those of you that God is about to open up some opportunities, God is saying that there are going to be opportunities coming your way, right? Because God is going to officially open up those doors. But some of those opportunities are going to be opportunities that are good, but they're not everything that God designed for you. Right? They're going to be opportunities that is going to bring is going to bring a certain level of how do I want to say it? It's going to bring a certain level of wealth, a certain level of notoriety, right? Your name is going to be known. There's going to be contracts and attached to it. There's going to be many things attached to whatever God is about to do with you. But there's going to be opportunities that this is how I see it, that they're in His perfect will. And then there's going to be opportunities that are in His permissible will. meaning that there's ones that God is like, yes, absolutely, take this opportunity. This is exactly what I have designed for you. But then there's also going to be other opportunities that is going to be not exactly what God has lined for you. And it's not that like the devil's going to try to come in and trick you, but it's not going to be exactly what God has planned for you. And so in that influence, God is saying that wait, right? Wait for his voice on which opportunities to move forward with. The ones that God is giving you his yes on, those are the ones that you need to take. The other ones, leave them alone, right? It's the counterfeit version of the opportunity that God has made for you that is perfect for where you are, right? Whatever your sphere of influence is, whatever your lane is going to be perfect just for that. You don't want to take an opportunity that's not God's best. And that's all that God is saying. He's saying that take all the opportunities that he has given his stamp of approval on, the opportunities that is an absolute yes from him. Because again, when God opened those doors, the floodgates of blessings are going to overwhelm you, right? They are going to literally overwhelm you, where you're going to see blessing after blessing after blessing after blessing, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. But slow your roll. Always confer with God, like, Lord, is this for me? Is this an opportunity that's going to lead me to your perfect will, exactly where you want me to be? Because again, those other opportunities aren't going to be bad, but they're not what God has designed for you. And so, y'all, that is it. This is not no long drawn out word. God is just saying that wait on him. Wait on him. And when God gives you the go for that spouse, right, or he gives you the go for that opportunity, seize it and take it. But there's a difference between covenant and counterfeit. And you want God's covenant promises over your life. You don't want the great value version of what God has for you. You want everything that God has said that is yours. You want exactly that, because God knows best. He knows better than we do. So again, you do not want the great value version. You don't want the counterfeit version. Can you still eat the great value version? Sure. Is the great value version still viable? Absolutely, right? But it ain't homemade. It ain't perfectly designed for you with all the seasonings and everything how you like it. I know I just gave a reference to food, but y'all get what I'm saying. So there's a difference between covenant and counterfeit. Move forward with the covenant that God has for you, every promise that God has given to you. Do not settle for a version of something that God has not designed for you. All right, y'all. That is the word that God has given me. I'll be back the next time. I'm tired. I love y'all. Peace.